Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing well and happy holidays. This is Greg Kaiser. I'm a Senior Vice President at ITM. And today we have a quick presentation on our sister company, Life Insurance Trust Company. And we're going to talk about how you can eliminate your ILIT-related liability, cost, and workload. Joining me today is President of Life Insurance Trust Company, Tony McKillop.
Hello, everyone.
Just a little bit about Life Insurance Trust Company. We did create this trust company in 2017, so it's going on over 7 years now. It is the nation leading provider for life insurance trust services, serving as corporate trustee. It's not affiliated with any insurance companies. It does not market or sell insurance of any kind. Its whole role is to just serve as trustee during the unfunded years of a life insurance trust. Just to quickly touch on some ILIT administration challenges, we know the pain points that you all face every day. Reasons why a lot of corporate trustees do not like to accept ILIT business. There has been a lot of challenges in the last several years. We've seen a lot of people that may have been an ILIT administrator for 10, 20 years. They might be perhaps approaching retirement, or losing that key person that has that life insurance expertise knowledge. That can be really hard to replace internally. And if you don't have that life insurance expertise on staff, perhaps you don't have the capabilities or the ability to manage this asset class appropriately, ensuring that you're maximizing the value of each policy by having that in-depth knowledge of life insurance and all available options to potentially fix any problematic policies. You do have a lot of liability with this asset class. We know it's revenue neutral at best, so perhaps you're charging $1,000, $1,500 to manage $1 million policy. One missed premium payment can bring forward a lot of liability. Most trust organizations typically historically would accept this business, hoping that the policies would fund, and then you'd have a bunch of money to manage going forward. But more often than not, the beneficiaries are typically taking the money and running when it's funded. Let's go to the next slide. So just in relation to those challenges too, at ITM, we did create our managed solution. So I know many of you are clients on that model today, but that's where you would outsource 90% of the workload and really lean on our team for that life insurance expertise to help remediate and administer these ILITs in a cost-efficient manner. So why LITCO? Why did we start Life Insurance Trust Company if we have our full outsource model? Well, over the years, we saw more and more trust organizations just wanting to exit the ILIT business. They said, you know what, ITM, you guys are great, but we just want out of this asset class. It still has liability. We're not making any money on this thing. It's a lot of fees. A lot of these clients have no other business with our company, and they're what we call standalone accounts. So we kind of looked in the mirror and decided to create Life Insurance Trust Company, which really has that fiduciary wrapper on top and can serve as corporate trustee. And it's based out of South Dakota, so it has a lot of the benefits of a South Dakota trust. And with Life Insurance Trust Company, corporate trustees or banks and trust companies now have an avenue to be able to partner with Life Insurance Trust Company or remove themselves from trustee for any or all of their ILITs. So as just kind of a recap, some of the benefits of a partnership with Life Insurance Trust Company. We have a bulk transfer process that Tony will get into, but when ILITs are moved to Life Insurance Trust Company, you eliminate all costs. So you have no more ILIT revenue, but you have no more vendor costs or any other person's time spent on dealing with ILITs, which are usually outside of your core competencies. You eliminate all risk. So, missing a premium payment or accidentally forgetting about a policy rider that was really important and perhaps that's dropped and now you have some liability on your hands. When Life Insurance Trust Company is serving as the trustee, you no longer have any of that risk at all. And one of the benefits of Life Insurance Trust Company, as they only manage one asset class, life insurance, one, they're not competing with you for other trust services. So when your clients are being served at Life Insurance Trust Company, they're only focused on that life insurance trust. And once a policy pays out, we will give the referring trust organization the first right of refusal to accept those funded trust accounts back for the ongoing management going forward, should they have a continuation of trust provision. So that's just a great benefit, still giving you kind of the, what do we call it, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, giving you those assets back to manage going forward. And part of the agreement when you're partnering with life insurance trust company, it is spelled out in that agreement where you won't even need to have the beneficiary's consent for us to pass those trusts back to you all to manage going forward. And then certainly, if you have any new ILIT opportunities, maybe you're presented with an opportunity, it doesn't meet your account minimums, or you just don't want to serve for that ILIT, you can always send those life insurance trusts to life insurance trust company. You could be an authorized third party while those accounts are managed at life insurance trust company. So giving you an opportunity to say yes to ILIT opportunities. We partner with life insurance trust company versus saying, no, we don't like ILITs. That's another value proposition for the trust company. So part of our successor trustee services, I will say life insurance trust company is ITM's largest client. So they're on our managed back office solution. We're still doing policy reviews. We're helping fix any problematic policy through our policy remediation services. We will do all of the administration, the contribution letters, the crummy letters, the processing of all the mail, making sure premium payments are paid on time. They'll have a dedicated trust officer at Life Insurance Trust Company. And we always, advocate and welcome the advisor or the trust officer that moved the accounts to LITCO to still be involved in these relationships. Should there ever be a discussion about making policy changes, we still offer that transparency and allow you all to be a part of that relationship while it's held at Life Insurance Trust Company. We do have a advisor friendly portal. So if your accounts do move to Life Insurance Trust Company, any advisor or trust officer can still have full transparency into those accounts. And that's really valuable if you're doing, holistic financial planning with your client and you want to get updated policy values or look at how much death benefit they have. You'll still have access to all of that information, policy reviews, crummy letters. You can even receive an email notification when those letters are going out to the client that you refer to Life Insurance Trust Company. So, over our course of over 7 years now, we have grown to be the largest ILIT corporate trustee in the country. We've done over 50 bulk transfers, just lots of organizations, just really reevaluating the ILIT business. Does it make sense for you to stay and still serve as trustee? Would it make sense perhaps to relook at your overall portfolio, maybe identify some of those standalone accounts and try to partner with Life Insurance Trust Company on those accounts? So, most of our growth has come from banks and trust companies, but we are still seeing new ILITs, believe it or not, being formed and placed at Life Insurance Trust Company on a monthly basis. With that said, Tony, I'll let you maybe take over and start with explaining some of the key benefits of being located in Sioux Falls.
Sure. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate the introduction there and some background. So as Greg mentioned, one of the nice things about the Life Insurance Trust Company is our South Dakota charter with the South Dakota Division of Banking. So as many of you may already know, South Dakota has many benefits from a corporate trustee standpoint. Some of them listed here below: lowest state premium tax in the nation, no state income tax. So as long as we have a validly executed South Dakota trust, we don't have to file, state income tax returns regardless of where the beneficiary or grantors live. Top-rated privacy statutes. Important for a lot of grantors, just to keep their assets private. We also have a privacy statute where beneficiaries can be excluded or minimized under certain circumstances. Top-rated asset protection statutes. This is very nice for, basically funded trusts that are assets of the beneficiaries are not considered their assets for creditor purposes. No rule against perpetuities. This is a nice feature. It allows a lot of these ILITs to actually become dynastic type trusts where they can go on and on forever and ever. Assets build inside there without being subject to estate tax on the death of the grantor or beneficiaries. Favorable decanting and trust modification statutes. We found this very nice for any changes needed in ILITs or any type of trust for that matter, much easier to decant, much easier to modify than most states have. And then domestic trust for international families, somewhat applicable to ILITs. We've seen a slight increase in foreign nationals, even establishing ILITs with South Dakota Life Insurance Trust Company.
Great. Thanks, Tony. And I also want you to touch on the bulk transfer process. So this is where a trust organization is looking to move about a dozen or more ILITs to Life Insurance Trust Company. You know, it's not the traditional resignation and appointment paperwork, non-judicial settlement agreement. How does this work? How a trust company can move a handful of ILITs to Life Insurance Trust Company?
I would consider this one of the most efficient ways to transfer these ILITs, to get out of them and transfer them up to South Dakota to the Life Insurance Trust Company. At the heart of the agreement we have an agreement and then also a resignation and acceptance. So the agreement really outlines the terms of the resignation and acceptance. We call it an agreement for the resignation and acceptance of certain trust accounts. So in there, we'll have certain representations and warranties, and then also an NDA that we execute. From there, we review all of the trust agreements, review all of the policies to make sure we're comfortable with them and have a good understanding. One of the common questions I get asked is, what if policies are in rough shape? Will you still accept them? The answer is yes. We have a very robust remediation team that deals with these day in and day out. So we review all those documents. We'll be set up weekly project calls as well while we're transitioning. We handle almost all of the heavy lifting. It's really just kind of getting some documentation from you guys. We review all of that. We file all of the petitions with the South Dakota courts to transfer trusteeship. And then we also do provide notice to the grantor and beneficiaries of the trust that this is happening. Overall, very seamless process, takes on average about 60 to 90 days of transition, for the transition. Again, we have weekly project calls. Some of them will last 5 minutes, some will last a half an hour, just kind of depends on the topic for the day. And then account opening and ongoing management. Once we have final court approval, we become trustee, open the accounts up on our end. We'll keep you guys in the loop with our online portal. Very high level overview. There are some details in there, but we've really perfected this process over the years. We've done approximately 45 or 50 bulk transfers over the last 7 years. Courts in South Dakota are very familiar with it and have never had a hiccup at all.
Great, thanks for that, Tony. I have a couple just basic case studies. Situation here, another bulk transfer. The client maintained the relationship through our online portal. So that gives full transparency for them to maintain these relationships. Policy funded, the insured passed away. We now have a funded trust, and it really required a continuation of trust services. Tony emailed his contact at the referring trust company about this opportunity. They said, yes, we want to take this account back through not even needing the beneficiary consent. The referring trust organization assumed trusteeship for that funded ILIT and is now managing that ILIT going forward, earning some good AUM fees on that. So they were able to write off all the liability and cost on the front end, but still benefit from that pass back of the funded trust on the back end. We had a client, once again, they did a bulk transfer. They looked at all of their ILITs. They said, we don't have the life insurance expertise. This is outside of our core business. We just don't want to have the headache of dealing with these. They moved them to Life Insurance Trust Company. And previously, they were not an ITM client, so we were not doing any policy reviews or anything previously before they moved to Life Insurance Trust Company. Well, while they're at Life Insurance Trust Company, they're on our back office model. We immediately reviewed every policy that was transferred, and we identified several policies that were in very poor shape that their clients were not even made aware of. When a policy is in poor shape, it goes to our team of our remediation team, which is a team of life insurance experts. They analyzed all policy options. They worked with the client. They also worked with the client's advisor who maintained attached to the account while it moved to life insurance trust company. And they just had a very happy client going forward. This is a very common scenario. So, you know, we identify the issues. We help fix the issues. We don't just sit on the problems. We communicate them. We fix them. We bring the family. We bring any other trusted advisor into the conversations, and we resolve the problems. So that's just a great thing. It's not like you're kicking your clients to the curb if they're going to life insurance trust company. They're still going to get the white glove treatment and really have the experts roll up their sleeves and fix any issues that there may be. Tony, I'll let you kind of run with these, but you know, what would be the trustee's cost to do the bulk transfer and move the ILITs to LITCO?
Well, great question, Greg. And for your organization that moved the ILITs to LITCO, there would be no cost. We cover all of the costs from the court filing, review of documents, and everything with that of that nature. So there's absolutely no cost to the resulting organization.
And I kind of had mentioned this in a case study, but you know, how is it that you're notifying them once a death benefit funds? How would they even know that the insured is now passed away?
Great question. So one of the things we do when we go through the South Dakota courts, and we actually put this in the agreement as well, agreement and the petition, is what's known as a right of first refusal, which you mentioned earlier, Greg. And this is what allows the former organization to be notified and also accept these funds back or resulting trust back once the policy funds.
I know another common question. Some people sometimes have a hard time wrapping their head around if the policy, if the ILIT is moved to life insurance trust company, is the governing law changing? Is it now a South Dakota trust? How is that possible, or how does that work?
Yeah, great question, Greg. And from the answer to that is we certainly can administer trust with governing laws of any state. Just because we're a South Dakota trustee certainly doesn't prohibit us from acting as trustee on those trusts. Governing law would not change if it's a California trust or Texas trust, as an example. It would still be a California or Texas trust. The only difference is we have a South Dakota trustee, and South Dakota administrative law would apply.
Great. Let's say what about an ILIT? It's got a policy, it's going to lapse in 5 or 10 years. Would you guys just shy away from that or take that on too?
Yeah, great question. We would certainly take any of those policies. Problematic policies, issues with policies are items we deal with day in and day out. We have an entire team of remediation specialists that come up with the various options, premium streams, things of that nature. Same would be true for premium finance. You know, we accept almost any type of arrangement, whether it's split dollar, premium financed, or other unique scenarios.
I got another scenario from you. Got another question here. What about if a client's not paying their ILIT fees?
Great question. We certainly would take on those policies or the trust. We have a policy at Life Insurance Trust Company where we're very proactive in reaching out to the grantor and beneficiaries if trustee fees aren't being paid. If they're not being paid, our policy has always been to take from the cash value in the policy with proper documentation and reach out to these grantor and beneficiaries.
Great. Well, great information. I know this was kind of just a quick 20-minute overview of Life Insurance Trust Company. I know we have a lot of ITM clients on this call today. We appreciate the service. You certainly can remain as trustee for your client and utilize our back office services, or perhaps you consider what it makes a business sense to potentially look to partner with Life Insurance Trust Company on some or all of your ILITs. It certainly is a trend that we're seeing out there in the marketplace. Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone. Tony, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Appreciate it. Thank you.